We enter this world with a breath. We leave this world with a breath. You said 20,000 breaths, multiply that by 8 decades, and that's the number of breaths.
Hi, everyone. This is Michael Rubino, and I have with me a very special guest, Deepak Chopra, who is a very well-known doctor, humanitarian, and philanthropist. And I'm just so excited and grateful for you to spend some time with me today.
I'm very privileged to be spending time with you and very happy that you're doing some really important work in the future of well-being.
Yes, thank you very much for all you're doing too. As a matter of fact, I'm so grateful for the work you are doing, not only as a doctor, but through the Chopra Foundation. While you do so much for the world, I particularly am drawn to the work you are doing in mental health and neurosciences. Studies are showing a link between poor air quality and its broad effects on our mental health, like depression or anxiety, and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. And I was just wondering if you could share your perspective on this.
Well, the environment, or what we call the environment, is our extended body. Even though we say there's me and there's the world out there, actually the air is your breath. The rivers and waters is your circulation. The earth is recycling as your body. And the atoms in your body were originally manufactured in the crucible of burning stars. So you are the universe recycling as a biological system. We have this idea that the biosphere that is my body is different than the biosphere that's the world, but it's the same thing. And unless we shift inside to see that what we do to the world, we do to ourselves, what we do to ourselves, we do to the world. So given that right now, human beings are very interesting in that, we are the one species who wants to own everything. So we cut up the land and they said, this is the border between Canada and US. We cut up the rivers. So this is my river, belongs to Pakistan, this belongs to India. Try cutting up the air. Now, of course, they tried doing that too. All these countries, this is Italian airspace or Greek airspace or Middle East airspace. It's a stupid concept. You can't cut up the air, and the pandemic has shown that. It's not just mass migrations. It's the fact that we share the same air, and you can't cut it up. The other day, I was walking in New York City with a mask, and I smelled smoke. I said, "Who's smoking here?" Okay, looked around, and there was somebody 30 yards away who was smoking. It occurred to me that, I was breathing the stink from their lungs, and the metabolic end products of all the pollution in their body was going into my body. The physical matter from that person's lungs, the particulate physical material from that person's lungs, and maybe the person has, all kinds of chronic inflammation, all kinds of diseases. I'm infection, I'm inhaling it, notwithstanding I'm 20 feet away with a mask. Okay. Now, and then a few minutes later, walking on another street, somebody, in the same street had what we in medical terminology call an explosion of intestinal gas, which is colloquially called a fart, F-A-R-T. And I realized that I was inhaling their feces, fecal matter. So if you think you can cut up the air, it's impossible. Therefore, right now, especially indoors, there's all this research that shows that indoor pollution is even higher than outdoor pollution in cities. So we need to clean up our environment, or at least the air we breathe. We need to have pure water. And unfortunately, even that is now becoming a problem. If I go to a regular city and analyze the water in their system, it contains drugs, pharmaceuticals, opiates, because it's the same water that's recycling, unless it's filtered, of course, then that's a whole different story. So we are sleepwalking ourselves to chronic illness, mental depression. That's all interrelated. mental depression, anxiety, stress, sympathetic overdrive, inflammation in the body, chronic illness, and mental disease are all one phenomenon.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. You actually brought a lot of good analogies to the table with the smoking, the explosion as you call it. And so, these things, right? Air is all around us. We're breathing in our neighbors, we're breathing in ourselves, and we're breathing in other environmental contaminants from the ecosystem. As a global leader on meditation, it seems lots of meditations start with finding the breath. According to the American Lung Association, we take an average of 20,000 breaths per day. Can you please share your perspective on why the breath is so important and how it can either promote well-being or hinder well-being?
Well, we enter this world with a breath. We leave this world with a breath. You said 20,000 breaths, multiply that by 8 decades, and that's the number of breaths. So right now, every breath you inhale, you breathe in 10 to the power of 22 atoms. And amongst them are atoms that were once in the body of Moses or Jesus or Muhammad Ali or Genghis Khan or, you name it, Alexander the Great or Pythagoras. So it's the same air that's been recycling over thousands of years. In just the last 3 weeks, a quadrillion atoms have gone through your body that have gone through the body of every other living species on this planet. So we are actually the breath of life, which is otherwise called baraka in Arabic, Hebrew also. The breath of life is spirit. It's our entry and our exit from this world. If you stop eating for a few days, you'll survive. If you stop drinking for a few days, you'll survive. You stop breathing for 3 minutes, you're gone. So, this is the spark of life, which we also call the spirit, inspiration. To inspire the air is to bring the vital force that we call life force into our existence and sustain our biology.
Amazing. And while we talk about breath, right, we spend 90% of our time indoors, which is an alarming statistic these days, especially through the transformation that we had through the pandemic. And water damage inside of homes and workplaces can severely impact the quality of air we are breathing due to the presence of things like mold and bacteria that can contaminate the limited volume of air we breathe. Some people struggle to understand how something that is so small we can't even see can harm us. Can you share your perspective on why we should be vigilant in identifying and improving our quality of air?
Well, it's now very clear that a lot of chronic disease, a lot of lung problems, bronchial asthma, breathing problems, sleep apnea, which all contribute to inflammation, mental distress, physical illness, is because of the quality of air indoors. And I said the usual indoor environment is even more polluted than the outdoor environment. And bacteria are a problem, but fungus and fungal infections are also a huge problem. That's why the technology that you're using for decontaminating air indoors would be life-saving for a lot of people. In fact, I would say it's universally needed.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. As you already know, the work I'm doing is geared towards helping people identify culprits in poor air quality and the solutions to improve their air quality. And our nonprofit is geared towards education, research, and reform to ensure that clean air is an equal right for all. The World Health Organization estimates that 9 out of 10 people do not currently breathe clean air, which is a remarkable statistic highlighting the problem. In your opinion, how profound of an effect does this have on planetary well-being?
Well, ultimately, if we don't take care of this issue, exactly what you said, it will lead to our extinction as a species. So we are interdependent as a species with other life forms. The air we breathe comes from trees. And so, in a way, those trees are our lungs. And the air we breathe out is the lungs. We are the lungs for the trees, and the trees are the lungs for us. You put a plant in a vacuum, it dies. You put a rabbit in a vacuum, it dies. You put them both together, they thrive, they both live. So unless we recognize the interdependence of life forms on this planet, particularly our relationship with the natural environment and how polluted indoor environments create damage to the ecosystem that we call our body, ultimately it affects the ecosystem of our planet. So, we can't separate the two.
Yeah. No, very well said. Now, obviously, my job is to help fix with my expertise the indoor environment, but there's effects that take place, right? When someone is in a bad environment, there's damage that happens to the body. There's illness. There's chronic inflammation. There's these things that happen. How do we fix some of those problems?
I think some of the work that you're doing, first you prevent it, and secondly, you measure the quality of air. Everything is measurable these days, and also biometrics are measurable. You can see the direct relationship between what is called heart rate variability, inflammation, mental distress, physical pain, chronic illness. Can't separate them. All very important. So having clean air indoors should be everybody's priority.
Now, one of the first times that I personally meditated was actually in your presence, and it was a remarkable experience. And I had this kind of life-changing experience on this retreat. I went up there. We did some sort of exercise, and I actually recovered this repressed memory. It was something from my childhood. As a matter of fact, I was actually 5 years old during this experience, and I was bullied as a kid. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression from that, and I actually had suicidal thoughts. And I remember, just it's something I'll never forget. I'm traveling back down the mountain in one of those ATVs, and I'm crying, just bawling, crying. And it was one of the things that I loved about what you're doing with Pee Wee, because no child at 5 years old should feel that way. And with poor indoor air quality, especially how badly it impacts some of our communities that just don't have the resources to fix their air quality. I can only imagine the impact that this has on mental health. And meditation was just so it was so good, powerful for me, and I know it can be powerful for others. What are some simple things people can do at home with meditation? Is there something that you can share with us, or
Well,
something that
why don't we
I guess
why don't we share a meditation right now with everyone?
that would be fantastic?
Dear friends, wherever you are, sit comfortably. Use a backrest, sit on a chair, and uncross your legs. Keep your hands open on your lap. Close your eyes, and just let's observe the breath. This was, by the way, the first meditation that was called Vipassana by the Buddha himself. So when the Buddha was observing his breath, he came to the conclusion that breath is a sensation. So now feel the sensation of breath. He noticed that actually we don't breathe, we are being breathed. It's happening by itself. We are breathing the universe with every breath. And the insight that the great wisdom traditions had, breath arises as a sensation, you experience it, and then it goes. And the Buddha came to a very startling conclusion just by this little insight. If it is of the nature of arising, it also is of the nature of subsiding. Whatever arises also subsides. If you hold on to your breath, you will suffocate. But from this, the Buddha also derived another principle, impermanence. Whatever arises, it goes. From this, the whole realm of interdependence. We share the same breath. We are inter-beings in the inter-isness. Your breath is the holy connection between you and the universe, between you and all sentient beings. So as you breathe right now, mentally notice the sensation and tell yourself mentally, I am present in every breath I take. I am present in every breath I take. And now have the intention that I will periodically stop whatever I'm doing and be present in every breath for at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Bringing presence into my breath will bring me to this present moment, which is the only moment there is. The present moment never ends. Everything else is in imagination. All our stress, all our regrets, all our memories are in imagination. But the breath is always now. So let's sit there just for 2 minutes, observing the breath. And once in a while, introduce the mantra, let go and flow. Let go and flow. Now bring your awareness to your whole body and just be aware of all the sensations in your body, in your abdomen, in your thorax, any sensation. And notice, like the breath, sensations come and go. Everything comes and goes except you, the witness, the awareness in which all comes and goes. Make that your identity. Not what is happening around you, but the witness of the experience of what is happening. And this is the way to be free. Let go, flow, and be free. Now you can relax into your body and take a few seconds and open your eyes. I hope that helped.
It helped me. I'm very calm and peaceful right now. And with so many people, they have so much going on in their life and they're not feeling well, it can be overwhelming and stressful. And sometimes you need to just quiet down your mind and, you know, figure out what you need.
This is the simplest way to do it.
Yeah.
Good luck, Michael. You're doing great work, and I'm a fan and a supporter, and we will back you up with all the research for whatever else you do.
Thank you so much, Deepak. It was such a pleasure to have you on here and share some meaningful thoughts with everyone, and really appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. All the best.
Take care.